Hi,
Hello.
everybody, and welcome. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this next episode of a Crash Ball podcast on One World Sports Radio. My name is David Midgley, and as always, my partner today is Otto Osmaster Simon. Hello, Otto. How are you feeling today?
I'm good, thanks, and you, man. Very excited for the start of the Rugby World Cup. We'll get straight into it in a moment, but yeah, good night last night. I don't know if I dreamt it, but I imagine New Zealand are bit of a flat spin at the moment.
Yeah, it's a bit of a different situation than most people are used to, I guess. It's one where New Zealand lose a World Cup group game. I mean, that's what, the first time ever?
Yeah,
The first.
that's correct.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I suppose that's the nature of this Rugby World Cup. It's just open for everybody to pick the right fruits, and certainly no low hanging fruits, you would imagine, because any team can put you under pressure on any given day.
Yeah, I thought the French team were quite good. Um, and New Zealand will be scratching for answers there. At least they've basically got a free ticket to the quarterfinals or to the out of the group stages because there's nobody else in that group that's going to challenge them. So they've got that out of the way. They can become the second team to win a World Cup after losing a pool game.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be very interesting. I'd love to go and scratch around the New Zealand rugby sites a little bit during the week. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And
What's the
they're
word?
going to have to do it.
Schadenfreude or what? Yeah.
Schadenfreude. Yes.
Say, yeah.
Bit of Deutsch there, but an absolute cracker of a game. And I mentioned it at our previous broadcast that the French would be up for it, and boy, did they turn up. So congratulations to them. If you're wondering when are these guys recording it, because it was just around the corner. It's early in the morning. Let's put it like that. We've waited quite late for the Scotland team to be released before jumping the gun. But yes, if you want to, please do so by liking the video, liking us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter at OneWorldSR, patreon.com/OneWorldSR, and most importantly, subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you know when we're going live, because this Sunday, I don't know if you ever heard some of those is it monster truck adverts? Sunday, because this Sunday is the time for it, because South Africa take on Scotland at Stade de Marseille, or Stade Velodrome in Marseille, France. We will be bringing you live coverage, play by play, and kickoff is at 5:45 South African time, but we'll be live from about past, bringing you some build up. How are you feeling about this fixture? I know we spoke about it last week, but I wanted to kind of gauge where your thoughts are, having had the opportunity to see both teams' selections.
Well, actually, I haven't seen the Scotland team, but we pretty much know what they're going to look like. They've got probably only about 16 or 17 players that they can pick in their first 15, to be honest. So that's going to be a funny challenge for the Springboks. They're going to be expected to win. They're going to have to get their heads in the right place, because Scotland can be another Japan. It can be an embarrassment for them. It can be a banana peel, or whatever you want to call it. It's a tough pool that we're in. If we lose to Scotland, we have to beat Ireland to top the pool, you would feel, because Scotland also have some ambitions of making it through to the last 8. So if they want to do that, they're going to have to go through Ireland to do that, and not through us. That's my hopes. I picked on. We'll get to our super group picks in a moment. I think it will be a pretty comfortable win for the Springboks if all goes well.
I think the challenge that I have is as trying to look at it from a neutral perspective, I think Scotland don't have enough on the bench, and I think that's the challenge that a lot of the teams at Rugby World Cup are going to face, because I think they're going to find themselves in a position where they don't have the firepower to get us at the last third of the game. I think that's where they'll struggle, and I think that's where they'll find themselves kind of having to scramble to try and fight that South African side in the last 20 minutes, maybe from the hour mark onwards, because even if the bomb squad comes on at the 50-minute mark, you still feel like they've got enough in the tank to cover the bases, so to speak.
Yeah, Scotland's only hope would be to have a 15 or a 20-point lead going into the last 15, 20 minutes, and then hanging on and trying to negate the effect of the Springbok bench. I would say that would be
enough,
though.
George. Would 15 points be enough? What would enough be for you if you're Gregor Townsend?
15. 3 scores.
15.
Okay. 15 points ahead going into the last 60, which means they're going to have to start like a house on fire. They're going to have to just go for it in the first 15, 20 minutes to see if they can get those 2 or 3 scores ahead before the Springboks wake up and realize what's happening to them, sort of thing. I would say that would be my tactic as a Scotland coach. They've got the South African influence there, the
Skuman and
coaching
Mel.
staff, and in the coaching staff as well. So
yes,
right. So it's Scotland, South Africa is always an entertaining game. It's never a boring game. The Scots always throw everything at it, so it's going to be good to watch. I can't wait, to be honest. I'm not someone who tries to wish my life away and look too far forward into the future, but I cannot wait for Sunday afternoon, both because we're going to watch a Springbok Scotland game and because we're going to be broadcasting it. So that's
beautiful.
Really looking forward to it.
And we've got a stacked team, because it looks like there's 4 of us that are available. So that's going to be a cracker. We certainly have brought out everybody for this opening game. It's going to be interesting, I think. That particularly that Scotland Ireland game, I might just be belting out a flower of Scotland on that day, because boy oh boy, is it one that I'd love for the Scots to win.
Yeah, that would be something, and that would soften Ireland up nicely for us as well. I think we play them last, right?
We play
Ireland at the end of our second last fixture.
Our last one is Tonga.
Tonga, okay. Yeah, so that'll be cool if Scotland can do us a solid there and get rid of the Irish unbeaten record for the pool stages, which they will no doubt have by that time. And then we face them, and we can maybe us and Scotland can go through, and Ireland can set it out. But you'll be a brave betting man to put some money on Ireland not going through.
Yeah. But how wonderful would it be for the story of Rugby World Cup? Right, let's get into our squad selection, because
yes, we get to the title of this podcast. We were correct, almost.
Absolutely. Well, we went that far off. So we were 7 out of 8. That's not bad. Not bad.
Nope.
We didn't pick Jasper Visser. Maybe you do think he's hanging on to Dwayne Vermeulen. I know he's not starting this week, and I believe he's on the bench. But do you think that he's held on to him as a matter of just wait, I'm not going to show you what cards I'm playing until Ireland? Or is it just he just has confidence in Jasper? I mean, it's not like Jasper's done poorly. We were just looking for experience, I think, going into that first game.
Well, I would say that the selection of Jasper Visser tells me that he wants that the Springboks want Jasper to have a little bit of game time, and they can always bring Vermeulen on. This is Vermeulen's swan song. He said that he's going to retire after this World Cup. So give give the young lad some game time against Scotland, and we've seen that Jasper is being groomed at least as a like-for-like replacement for Dwayne Vermeulen. So if you really believe that as a coaching staff, as a Springbok management, then it shouldn't matter. So yeah, I'm quite chuffed that we were so close with the forwards. So some continuity from the coaches and the management as well to get these 8 guys back onto the park, except for Dwayne. And watch out, Scotland. This is going to be tough to face.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be one of those where, if as a Scottish fan, like you said, you don't immediately make an impact at the breakdown and at set pieces, I think you're going to be chasing the game, and that's not what you want if you're relying on the way in which the South Africans play to kind of use it against them. So I think if you're trying to front up physicality wise, you're not going to do that if you're chasing the game. You can't chase and be physical. You've got to hammer first. You've got to come up front and win at the breakdown and as well at set piece time. And I think if you don't, you're going to find yourself wanting.
Exactly. This is going to be a tough forward pack to dominate. I can't see how Scotland can play that tactic. If they're going to try and hammer this forward pack, they're going to be hammering away for 70 minutes, and they'll be behind on the scoreboard before they'll be well behind on the scoreboard by the 70th minute. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. They're gonna have to play around this forward pack. They're gonna have to try and move these guys around. We'll get to the Scotland team in a second, but yeah, this is not a forward pack that you can go through easily.
Absolutely. Right, on to the backs, and I think we've got that horribly wrong. No, not necessarily you, but I think I've made the error there. I picked a different center pairing. I was trying to be energetic, but Andre Esterhuizen not selected to start. Canan Moodie is out with a bit of a niggle, but you picked at least the correct number 13. And
between the two of us, we only made one mistake.
Yes.
2. Yes. No, yeah, between the two of us, we made 2 mistakes.
Yeah,
we inside center and fullback.
And yes, yeah. So I wouldn't have thought Damien Willemse, but perhaps still waiting for a Willie Leroux full recovery to return back to play, because remember in that game at Twickenham, he was pulled out last minute as a precautionary measure. He is on the bench this weekend, but maybe Jacques Nino was saying, well, let's hold him back. We've got Willemse to do the job. And no Makazole Mapimpi in that side. So an interesting selection there. What do you make of that backline for the Springboks?
I was thinking about Duan van der Merwe this past week. Colby, I like Colby at 11. I think people underestimate Colby's defensive capabilities. I was worried, having picked Mapimpi myself, that Makazole Mapimpi will be able to defend against that big Van der Merwe guy on the wing. Damian Dalenda, I completely forgot that he was in the squad.
Yeah, I remember we chatted about it.
I would still have liked to see Andre Esterhuizen start against Scotland. But once again, Damian Dalenda needing some game time maybe.
And experience.
And he's good on defense. Not such a strong ball carrier as Esterhuizen, perhaps, but he's got better feet than Andre Esterhuizen. He can sidestep you a little bit. He's got a little bit more attacking flair, you could say. He's not as not to say that Esterhuizen is necessarily one-dimensional, but I think Damien gives you a little bit more options on attack, a little more inclined to get the outside backs involved.
Maybe a bit
So
of
I
a
like
chip and
his
chase type
selection.
situation.
He's good. He's good at that. Yeah, he does that as well. Does old Damien? So that's good. De Klerk and Libbok, they pick themselves. Kurtley Arendse, good choice for me as well. And then, yeah, if Willie Leroux comes off the bench, I'm happy with that. I think that's a better choice than starting him, especially given Damian Willemse's performance last week or in the previous game, at least.
Yes.
So
So 6-2 on the bench for the Springboks, not back to the 7-1 that some people may have been hoping for. And we nearly were close again. You were much better at the back or at the bench than I was. I was kind of all over the place, presuming that John Klein was fit, and neither of us got that right because he's not fit. He's also out with a niggle injury. I think it's a knee and a calf between Klein and Moody. We didn't pick Marco van Staden, and we found ourselves wanting
also,
only one lock on the bench.
yeah, also forgot that Marco van Staden was in the squad. So that's two loose forwards on the bench. Only one lock.
I picked Kwagga because I thought, okay, Kwagga's going to do the job because we got two locks, but we don't have John Klein. Now, surprisingly, showing the success of having a brand new type 5 in the New Zealand game, I thought the outside chance this week that Jacques Ninombo, once I heard about John Klein, I thought maybe is there a chance for Marvin Ori? But I think he's more as a I think it. What did Victor Matfield call it this week? He called it the dirties, the guys that don't play but still have to train.
Yeah, holding the tackle bags and waiting for an injury. Well, we've got RG Snyman on the bench, but we've got three locks in the starting 8. It's a bit Mostert and Peter Steph to it.
Yeah,
you could argue that. So that tells me that maybe Mostert or Etzebeth will give way to Snyman. Van Staden and Vermeulen will come on for Kolisi and Visa, and then Peter Steph might move to the lock along with Snyman.
You had
Something
faith
like that.
you had faith in Grant Williams that he would do the job, and Jacques decides Otto is correct, picking him as the replacement scrummy, and then Willie Leroux, like we mentioned, is our replacement fullback / maybe center. But the great thing about it is that you've got Damien Willemse who can come in and do the job at center. He can do the job at 10, and against Scotland, I feel confident enough. It's not something that anybody wants to write off as a game of no interest. I think there are some games that may have a little bit less interest in them, a couple of fewer eyes, but I just think that this game promises to be a brilliant one. I think the games this weekend are going to be crucial, at least in our pool. I mean, Ireland are playing Romania, and what a statement it would be if Ireland could put up 50 points or more against Romania. I think that's going to send a statement to South Africa, but Scotland as well, because Scotland so badly want to get out of this group. You know, they feel like they're probably squirming for air in this group, and they rightly deserve their place at 5th in the world rankings. Preparing the stats pack for the broadcast this weekend, and they've actually got a fairly decent win record of late. You look at their performances. They had a loss against Ireland, and then against France, and it was a narrow loss against France by 3 points. 3 out of 5 of your last games with a victory. That's not bad. The Springboks are 4 for 5 from their last rotation of 5 games. How do you feel about Scotland's chances ahead of this game?
Well, they beat France. Let me not forget that. And they narrowly lost to France when they went to play them at home. This is probably one of the best Scottish teams, Scottish outfits uh, that has ever seen the light of day. This is Scotland on the rise. They want to make sure that everybody knows why they're number 5 in the world. So this is going to be a tough challenge for the Springboks. There's no getting around that. Let's look at the Scottish team then, if we can. Check. If I need to refresh, yes, I do.
I think you might need to
Hang
refresh.
on 1 second.
So the
There
great
we
thing
go.
about it is that this game offers a lot more than most neutral fans would be expecting. I think it offers something that you can look at it and say, boy, oh boy, this is something that I want to get involved with. So Scotland's squad is up in front of us, and thank you to Scotland's media team for this little graphic for us. But a lot of South Africans in that side or two. I mean, you've got like you said, within the coaching structures, but you've got Veerpier Nel, who's on the bench. You've got Pierre Skuman and Dwan van der Merwe. And Dwan van der Merwe played until he was about 21 before going over to Scotland. So certainly aware of perhaps the style in which the South African teams play. How much do you think it's going to impact the decision-making on the day?
Well, the key for Scotland is going to be at number 10, Finn Russell.
Finn Russell, yeah.
That's going to be the guy that's going to win them the game. If there's anybody that they can look to get rid of the Springbok threat, it's going to be him. He's going to have to activate that back line. They've got a very strong forward pack. Looking at their bench, they fade away a little bit, as we talked about. So, yeah, it's a tough challenge for the Scots, but they will be up for it. They've got a little bit of wind in their sails. They're going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I certainly think it's one that, you mentioned that the bench fades away, but I think it's also the difficulty that we may face as South Africa is that Scotland have nothing to lose, really. There's 2 important games for them, and that's it. I mean, Jacques Nienaber and I think Siya Kolisi as well have both mentioned in kind of the build-up to this encounter that they feel like this is a knockout game straight away. And I mentioned it, and I mentioned it in terms of kind of getting a start. Group A and us, specifically us in Group B. Group A, obviously, with France, New Zealand, but us in Group B, you couldn't ask for a better opening fixture. I think just for the sake of having a cracker of an opening game, I think we've seen too many World Cups where it's some random team that is a minnow nation playing the host nation, and then it's almost a blowout, and you're like, but why?
Yeah.
And across sports, but I think that was a cracker of a game last night. I think New Zealand were just jointed, but it's still, on paper, it looks like a wonderful game. But I do think South Africa, they get a solid test first up, but they don't have to kind of spend the rest of the group scrambling if they can just get the job done here.
Yes, indeed. So this game, almost a knockout game. It probably is a knockout game, because if we lose this game against Scotland, that means we have to win against Ireland to go through. And that will be a tough challenge. That could be really bad. If we go into the Ireland game, it's okay. We're not too worried if we lose. I think that will put us in a better place as a team. So this game is, you could say this is a knockout game.
Before last night's game, I would have said to you, it's fine. Let's be second place on the log. I want to slightly disagree with you. I can smell the blood in the water, and I think it would be the perfect time to face New Zealand in a quarterfinal. Because if there's ever a hole in the armor, I want to take opportunities now, and I'd rather have a New Zealand quarterfinal than a France quarterfinal currently, which means we need to win our group to avoid France. Or you could be convinced to say, why not meet the French when you meet the French? If you go at quarterfinals, so be it. But I want New Zealand.
No, I think your first assessment is spot on. I'd rather play New Zealand in the quarterfinals. Having seen what the French did last night, they were absolutely amazing. They really showed their class there, and that also makes me a lot more worried about Ireland. If you look at the Six Nations and what happened there, I think that I'd rather play New Zealand in the quarterfinal. Thank you very much. So Scotland will have something to say about that, and let's just hope that we can top this pool, because if we run into the French in the quarterfinals, we might just be going home. I mean, we'll have to play them eventually.
Fired up French.
Yeah.
Well, we might not. We might have an avoidance route if they get through to the semis and then fall short there. We're saying this like we're guaranteed to run to the final. I say it's like we're guaranteed to run to the final. We've got to hope that we avoid France at all costs, but also how great would that be to have Dupont and his men running out at the Stade de France in 7 or 8 weeks' time?
Well,
against the Springboks.
I mean, to be the best, you have to beat the best. That's also something to keep in mind. You can't really
win in a final.
That would be better to beat France in the final. Well, boy, that's going to be that's going to be tough to do. So for the interim, this game against Scotland means that we give ourselves a chance to play the second place team in Pool A, which at this point looks like it is New Zealand, because the rest of their fixtures are basically walkovers, unless they run into Italy and trip up there. Italy is in that pool, right?
So it's going to be an interesting journey for New Zealand, because
Italy, Namibia, and Uruguay.
I think they need.
So we might play Italy in the quarterfinals. Yeah, sorry, say again.
So I think for the sake of the confidence of the All Blacks, if they put 100 on against Namibia, I think we're under serious pressure, because that means that they are, and South Africa have done it before, where we gave, I believe, 2007, where we gave Namibia 100. Brian Abena, I seem to remember scoring for fun. If it was not 2007, 2011, but it was a game in which I switched on for the Springboks, at least in that tournament. But I think if New Zealand are able to put 100 on against Namibia, I think we're going to be in some serious trouble if we run into them in the quarterfinals. I do think, though, that don't underestimate Namibia. They've got some serious fighters in their side. Matthew Proudfoot, former Springbok forwards coach, is also in their mix as well. So in the coaching side. So just, don't be so sure. I don't think there's a game that you can say, other than maybe some of Portugal's games, that you could say, boy, this is going to be an absolute trouncing, because even Romania in our own group kept Georgia scoreless. I think it was for the first half of one of their warm-up games. So, yeah, not that I'm equating the Springboks to Georgia. I don't think you can just take it as a for granted conclusion that things would go exactly to plan. And I think this game, I don't think there are many games that you can say, in the first 5 minutes, it's done and dusted, or even before we run out on the field. I think there's still that competitive nature from all the sides at Rugby World Cup.
All right, so let's get into predictions then. So I've got my Super Group picks up here for us. I don't know if you can clearly see that.
What do you make of it?
France by 3. So I was off by quite a long way. Only 36% of the Super Brew Nation picked New Zealand to lose, which is always a brave thing to do, to put in your pick and say that New Zealand aren't going to win. But they did, in fact, lose. Odds were also in France's favour. Once again, you would have been brave to bet against New Zealand. What was your pick for that game? Did you put one in there?
So I not on paper, but I was in two minds because I thought, a wounded All Black side, beware. But I seem to remember saying to somebody that don't underestimate France in front of their home side in an opening game. I think, cracker of a game. What have you got for South Africa's game against Scotland? I'd love to see. I'm going to put my
we'll go
money
through all of them.
table,
I'm just
proverbially
going to avoid some what do you call it?
Random games. Yeah, I think from my side, it's got to be 30 points to 15 to the Springboks. I think the Springboks will be too good, and I do think Angus Gardner, who was the same referee at the last game these two sides played, I kind of mentioned that to you this week. So consistent with favoring Springboks. Who knows? Because a couple of weeks ago, we were favored by Matthew Carley, but who knows if they will referee in the same way this week. But some exciting stuff. And you can join our Super Brew by GNAWTOTS is how you can use the code to join our Rugby World Cup prediction pool. We want to see your thoughts.
Yeah, I just put that up because I don't want to get a strike on YouTube, but I do want to go through. So I picked South Africa by 23 against Scotland.
23. Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So I'm quite confident that we're going to win that. I'm hoping to get some margin points there. I was a bit off in the France-New Zealand one. I didn't think France were going to win by that much. Let's just go through some of the other games. Italy, Namibia. I got Italy by 16. I think Namibia are going to be a little bit tougher than they have been in the past.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Ireland by 32 against Romania. So I also think that Ireland are going to be walking through that game quite comfortably. Mm-hmm. That's in our pool as well.
Yeah.
So that will be a bonus point. Well, there are no bonus points in the competition, but that will be a win for. Are there bonus points? No, I don't see it on the logs. I don't think
no.
Okay. Australia by 18 against Georgia.
All
Georgia
right.
might give them a bit of a scare, right?
I'm with you. I'm
England by 6.
Rugby World Cup app.
This is going to be Argentina by 6. Excuse me, against England.
Argentina by 6.
Yes.
Okay, I like that.
And the bookies agree with me. They're giving Argentina up as favourites here.
Argy-bargy. Beautiful.
Yes, Argy-bargy. England. Japan by 17.
Japan have got to walk that one. Yeah. Wales, Fiji.
Yeah, so South Africa by 23, Fiji by 3 against Wales, and there the bookies don't agree with me at all. Fiji by 3.
You're saying Fiji are going to come up trumps there? I like it.
Yes, Fiji by 3 points against Wales, and that watch out for Fiji because they are going through. I think Wales and Australia will fight out for the second spot. I pick Fiji as at least a semi-final for them.
Don't let Eddie Jones hear you. Into some crash ball news. Like we said, the Super Brew pick is there up on the screen. And then you can also check out the women playing against the Barbarians. And you pick up that stat for us where it was nearly 30,000 fans the last time those two sides met at Twickenham. So great news for
Yep.
the Springboks ladies there, and we wish them all the very best. And that's in addition to their 3 previously mentioned fixtures.
Yes,
along with Kenya.
they've announced.
Because,
yeah, they.
some add-on. Go for it.
Yeah, so they've announced their warm-up games, which happen at the dates indicated there, 16, 23, and 7th of October around the Cape Town area. If you are around there, please go and support the Springbok Women. They're playing against Kenya at the University, the UWC sporting grounds on the 16th. And then the big one, 23rd of September, South African women against the Barbarian women. The Barbarians, the Barbars are coming to Cape Town. And it's a long weekend. No excuses.
No excuse. Yeah.
No excuses. Get down to Cape Town if you can. If you are in the area, go to the Athlone Stadium and watch the Springbok Women taking on the black and white hoops of the Barbarians. That's quite exciting to see that the Barbarian ladies are in town. And then they'll play another warm-up game before the Women's 15, the World 15, World's Women 15. I don't know what they call it, but the tournament is here in South Africa, in the Stellenbosch, Cape Town area. 3 games there for the South African ladies, as we mentioned last time, the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th of October. Those are the World 15 fixtures that we have so far. And then shall we end it off once again with the Western Cape Club Rugby? It looks like semi-finals because there's only 2 matches, and they're happening today, the 9th of September. So sorry if you're listening to this after the 9th. Marty's hosting University of Western Cape, and Durban hosting Helderberg. You see, you can get into the club finals there. Let us know in the comments where we can get hold of these other useless club rugby administrators so they can give us some more things to talk about. I imagine the other leagues are pretty much done for the year.
And it's a clash of the varsities there in that first semi-final. I'm going to go with University of the Western Cape. Back the underdog.
Yeah, Marty's have also been a bit off the boil this year. Looking at the, just thinking back to the Varsity Cup. But yeah, they're a quality side. They'll be very disappointed if they lose at home. So I'll go with UWC as well. No.
Beautiful. Yeah,
so if you want to the tomatoes.
Absolutely. If you want to be a part of our group that is commentating, admin at 1WSR.com. If you feel like you're up for it, we've got a lot of games at Rugby World Cup, and we want to have a nice variety of voices. Please do join us. 5:30 Sunday, South African time. It'll be 4:30 British Standard Time for that encounter. We, like we said, are excited for it. And please like and subscribe. Check out our other podcasts. There's some footballing podcasts with some cheap seats. And in addition to that, there is the Full Quarter podcast. Awesome interview with Gordon Parsons, the Limpopo head coach, the new man on the job. So some insight into what's going on there up in the north of South Africa with their cricket. So please like and subscribe and check out some of our other content. And we cannot wait for Sunday. That's all from me. Otto, anything from you? That's all for now. We'll see you on Sunday. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Thanks for all the support, and have a good one. Bye-bye. See you Sunday. Cheers.